Think about the last time you were completely certain about someone. Not the comfortable certainty of a long relationship, the early kind. The kind where you check your phone before you've consciously decided to, where their name in a notification produces something physical, where you find yourself thinking about them in the middle of something unrelated, and you don't mind the interruption. Now think about what happened to that feeling over time, because here is what the science shows. And this is the part that will make you uncomfortable regardless of where you are in your life right now. That feeling has an expiration date, not random, not personal, not a failure of character or commitment or love. A biological timer set by evolution, running in every human being alive. And it runs out at almost exactly the same moment, 4 years. The data, across multiple independent studies, across different cultures and continents, converges on the same window, with a consistency that has disturbed researchers since they first noticed it. And once you understand why, once you understand what 4 years actually represents in the logic of the ancient human reproductive system, you will never think about relationships the same way again. Start with what love actually is at the biological level, not the philosophical version. The documented neurochemical reality. When you fall in love, your brain releases a specific cocktail of compounds. Dopamine creates the craving, the obsession, the inability to stop thinking about the other person. Norepinephrine produces the racing heart and the physical symptoms that feel indistinguishable from anxiety. Serotonin drops, which is why new love feels neurologically almost identical to obsessive-compulsive disorder. And then there is oxytocin, the bonding compound. Released through touch, through eye contact, through sustained physical proximity, the chemical that converts infatuation into attachment. Anthropologist Helen Fisher at Rutgers University spent decades studying the neuroscience of love across cultures. Her conclusion was precise and deeply uncomfortable. What humans call romantic love is not a feeling. It is a drive, a motivation system, closer, neurologically, to hunger or thirst than to any emotion. It is a system designed by evolution to do one specific thing: keep two people together long enough to successfully reproduce. In the ancestral environment, successfully reproducing meant more than conception. It meant keeping a child alive through the most dangerous period of early human life. The first years, before the child could walk independently, before they could find food, before they could survive without constant adult protection. For a human infant in the Pleistocene, those years required 2 adults. Not because of parenting philosophy, because of physical survival mathematics. 1 adult hunting, 1 adult protecting the child. A single parent in the ancient world faced odds that made successful child rearing statistically improbable. So evolution built a system to hold 2 adults together during exactly that window. The pair bond, biochemically enforced, neurologically rewarded, designed to override individual self-interest for precisely as long as the offspring required intensive care. And then, with the same cold precision with which it had been constructed, the system began to dissolve. Fisher analyzed divorce data from 62 cultures across the demographic yearbook of the United Nations. The data showed a consistent peak in relationship dissolution at a specific point, 4 years in, regardless of culture, regardless of legal system, regardless of religious context. 4 years. The approximate length of time required to bring a child from birth to early independence in the ancestral environment. The love was never designed to be permanent. It was designed to be sufficient. If this is already making you think about your own relationship timeline, hit like. It helps more people find this. And what comes next is the part most psychology content never reaches. But here is the question nobody asks directly. If the pair bond was designed to dissolve after 4 years, what were ancient humans supposed to do next? The answer is so different from modern assumptions that it requires a moment to land. They were designed to do it again. Fisher identified what she calls serial monogamy as the default human mating strategy, not lifelong monogamy, not promiscuity. A repeating pattern of deep pair bonding, dissolution, and rebonding with a new partner, each cycle producing offspring, each cycle dissolving on approximately the same biological schedule. What this means is that the ancient human model of love was not one great love for life. It was a sequence of complete loves. Each one real, each one neurochemically indistinguishable from the previous one, each one carrying the full subjective weight of permanence, even as the biology was already running the timer. And here is the detail that changes how you understand every relationship you have ever had. The feeling of certainty you experience early in love, the sense that this one is different, that this one will last, is not a perception of truth. It is a feature of the system. The oxytocin and dopamine produce the subjective experience of permanence specifically Because permanence was the behavioral outcome evolution was trying to generate. A pair bond that felt temporary would have been abandoned too soon. You were not wrong to feel certain. The certainty was by design. Think about the relationships you have watched dissolve, yours or others. A period of intense connection, a period of comfortable attachment, and then a slow or sudden shift. Not necessarily toward hatred, sometimes towards something more disturbing, indifference. The feeling that the person is still present, but the specific urgency of their presence has quietly left. That shift is not failure. It is not a sign that the love was not real. It is the pair bond doing exactly what it was built to do. Psychologist Arthur Aron at the State University of New York documented the specific neurological difference between early romantic love and long-term attachment. Early love activates the dopamine reward system, the craving, the obsession. Long-term attachment activates completely different systems. Comfort, safety, reduced anxiety. The feeling people describe of love settling down after several years is not metaphorical. It is a literal neurological transition between two different biological systems running on different compounds, producing different subjective experiences. The ancient human body was designed to run the romantic love system intensely for a limited window, then transition to either secure attachment or dissolution. What modern culture did was build an entire institutional and moral architecture around the expectation that the first system should last forever, without telling anyone that it was biologically designed not to. Here is the part that generates the real debate. If the 4-year biological window is the default human design, what does that mean for lifelong monogamy? There are two completely opposite conclusions you can reach from the same evidence. The first, modern relationships that last decades are not the natural state. They are a cultural achievement built against the biological grain. They require conscious effort precisely because they are asking two nervous systems to maintain a pattern the underlying biology is designed to eventually dissolve. The second, humans are uniquely capable of choosing beyond their biological defaults. The pair bond dissolves, but attachment can be deliberately rebuilt. What ancient humans experienced as automatic, the chemistry of new love, modern humans can partially recreate through novelty and sustained investment in a long-term partner. Both conclusions are supported by the data. Both lead somewhere uncomfortable. The first toward questioning whether lifelong commitment is natural. The second toward asking why so few people actively rebuild what the biology is quietly dismantling. Go back to the beginning. That feeling you thought about at the start. The specific early certainty. The phone checking and the name in the notification. You now know what that was. Neurologically, a drive, not a feeling. A system designed to hold two people together for a specific window, running exactly as designed. And you know what the ancient human nervous system was built to do when that window closed. The question that is hardest to put down is this. In your own life, in the relationships that ended, or changed, or settled into something quieter than they began, was the timer running? And does knowing that change anything about how you understand what happened? Or does it change something about what you do next? Drop a comment. Do you think 4-year love is real love? Or is lasting love something completely different that only some people learn to build? I want to see where people land on this. Subscribe. The next video takes the biology of human bonding somewhere that will change how you think about attraction in